Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time on this channel, my name is Levi Omagbemi. About 2 months ago, I did a video on how to convert speech to text to speech recognition. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to convert text to speech using the web speech API, the same API we used for the previous tutorial I just talked about. So before I make reference to the MDN documentation of the particular API we'll be using under the web speech I want to show you how this application works. So I'm going to pass a piece of text here. Hello, my name is Levi, and click speak. So pay attention to what will happen when I click the speak button.
Hello, my name is Levi.
So it's going to say whatever we put here in this text area. So we can also select voice. So we have some list of voice here. I'm going to go ahead and select French and click speak.
Hello, my name is Levi.
Alright, so I want to show you how this application looks in another browser. So let's go to Edge. It looks the same, but if I click this drop down here, we have the list of voice here. You see the voices we have in Edge is more than the one we have in Chrome. So the list of voice is going to change depending on the browser. So if I try it and say hello, my name is Levi, so this capital letter L, and click speak.
Hello, my name is Levi.
So it works, is compatible with Chrome and Edge, and we're going to look at the browser compatibility on MDN documentation. So let's select Egypt and click speak.
Hello, my name is Levi.
Alright, so we get that voice, so we can change the voice as we like. Now, one thing I want you to know before we go to the MDN documentation is that this app relies on internet connection. So if you want to work with this API, you want to make sure you have a stable internet connection, because it's not going to work as it should if you don't have a stable internet connection. Let's come to this tab where I have the speech synthesis API open. So this API is under the web speech API, and this is what we'll be using for this tutorial. You can read up the documentation, but what I want you to see is the browser compatibility. It's compatible with all major browsers like Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Opera, Safari. It's not compatible on Opera Android and WebView Android. Alright, so my focus for this app is going to be on the JavaScript. I'm not going to focus on the UI. This UI is very whack. You can go ahead and style this anyhow you want. So my focus for this tutorial is going to be the JavaScript. So let's get started. So before I start typing out the JavaScript, I just want to go over the HTML and CSS file. So I'm making my CSS file here, and I have this div with the ID of container that wraps around all the content of the web page. So I have this H1 with text to speech as the text content, and I have this select drop down with just one empty option. So we're going to populate this select drop down with the list of voices we're going to get from the browser with JavaScript later. Then we have this text area where the user is going to pass in a piece of text, and we have this button which is going to trigger the application, and I'm just linking my app.js file there. Okay, so if you go to the CSS file, you just have some basic styling for the container, for the H1, for the select text area and button. Okay, so you can style this anyhow you want, but I just want to go over this file so you have a basic understanding of what we do. So take note of the IDs we assigned to this element. So we have voice options for the select, we have user input for the text area, and we have user action for the button. So this is the three elements we'll be selecting from our JavaScript. Alright, so let's go to our JavaScript file, and this empty, we are going to type everything from scratch. Now, the first thing we want to do is to store the speech synthesis object in a variable. So I'm going to say const synth. I'm going to say window dot speech synthesis. Now, this API is being given to us by the browser, not JavaScript. It's not a JavaScript API. This is a window object API provided by the browser. Okay. So I'm going to select the user input next. So let's say const user input. Now I'm going to use document dot get element by ID, and it has an ID of user input. Okay, so let's get the button. I'm going to call it user action. User action and document dot get element by ID, and it has an ID of user underscore action. Okay, so these are the two UI variables we want for now. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is that we're going to listen for a click event on this button, and when that event fires off, we want the browser to save whatever text is being passed into the user input. Okay, so let's do user action dot add event listener. We want to listen for a click event. I'm not going to pass in an arrow function here. So if you want to create a function and make reference to that function as the callback here, you are free to do that. So the first thing we need to do is that we need to instantiate a speech synthesis utterance constructor. So if I go to the speech synthesis API documentation, you see this new speech synthesis utterance constructor, and whatever is passed in here, so it's going to take a string as an argument. So whatever string that is passed in here is going to pick it out. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to say const utter this. So I'm just going to follow the documentation. So this is a constructor, so we'll place the new keyword before it. I'm going to say speech. So if you are watching this tutorial, you're supposed to have um, some knowledge of JavaScript. So this is the constructor we want. And what are we going to pass as an argument? We are going to pass the value of this user input. So we're going to do user input dot value. So we want the value. Now after doing that, we have to say utter this dot speak. So speak is a method. No, not utter this actually. So we want this synth, so this window object. So sorry for that mistake. So synth dot speak, and we're going to pass utter this. So if I save that, come to my HTML document and go live with live server. The live server is just an extension that allows you to run your application on a local server, so you don't have to save and reload every time. Once you save, it's going to automatically reload the web page. Let's say hello and click speak.
Hello.
So we get hello. Now the next thing we want to do is to populate this select drop down here. So let's go ahead and do that. So to do that, I'm going to declare a variable with let. So let and say voice. The reason why I'm using, so let's just call these voices because we are going to have more than one voice. So the reason why I'm using let is because we are going to overwrite the value of this variable. So if you use const is used for constant variables, something that is not going to change, use const for it. So I'm going to go ahead and say voices. So voices equals to synth dot get voice. So there's a method that is going to fetch the list of voice for us. So synth dot get voice, and let's log this in the console. So clg voices. So if I save, come back to my browser and open my console, you see we get this empty array here. Even if I reload, we still have this empty array here, and that's because by the time the voice is returned, this code, the browser has finished executing this code. So by the time this method here returns the voice, this code has been executed by the browser. So I'm going to go to the MDN documentation. There's a solution for this. So if you go to MDN documentation, I want you to see this voice change event. So this voice change event is going to fire whenever this get voice method. So you are seeing they're using it to get the voices here. Whenever this get voices method returns a list of voice, this event is going to fire. So if we read what they have here, so we say this could be used to repopulate a list of voice that the user can choose between when the event fires. Okay. And if you read from the beginning, it says the voice change event of the web speech API is fired when the list of speech syntax voice is objects that would be returned by the speech syntax get voices method has changed. So whenever this get voice method returns a new list of voice, this voice change event is going to run. Okay, so I'm going to cut this, just cut this. So to create that event, we're going to say synth dot on voice change, and I'm just going to pass in a callback. So when this event fires off, let's just paste this. Now let's see what's going to happen now that we are using this event to get the voices. If I go to my application on the browser, so you see we are getting this list of voice. So this is the list of voice, and we have about 22. So if I should open this app, copy this part, so this local server part, and let's go to Edge. So I'm just going to go to Edge, and so I'm going to paste this and open it. Let's see. So if I open my console, we have about 317 voice on Edge, but on Chrome we have just 22. But I want to take note of something. So each voice is an object. So this is an array with each voice is as an object. So each voice has a name property, and this is very useful. We are going to utilize this for this application. So let's go ahead and loop through this voice, then want to populate this select with it. So I'll go ahead and select the select drop down from the DOM. So the select drop down, I'm going to call it voice options. So let's just, it makes sense to call it that, options. And I'm going to say document dot get element by ID, and it has an ID of voices. So I'm going to voices, and let me just check this just to be sure. Voices underscore options. All right. So it has an ID of voices underscore options. Pick voices or voice options. Okay. So remove the S here and add S here. To save. Now we need to loop through this. So I'm going to use a for loop. So for I, for I equals to 0, as long as I is less than voices dot length, then want to increase I, so I plus plus plus. All right. So the way for loop work is we are looping through an array, and I is going to be 0. So I is going to run through the numbers of items we have in that array. after each iteration, I is going to increase. So that's why we have I plus plus here. So what we are going to do, we are going to create an option. We are going to create an option for each iteration, and we are going to place that option inside this select drop down. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to say const option. Let's just call this option because that's the name of the tag we are going to create. Equals to document dot create element. So that's the one we want, create element. And we're going to pass in a string of the name of the HTML tag we want. So option. Now an option takes two things. So we want to pass a text content for the option and we also want a value. So let me show you something. Let's pass, let's just say voice one as the text content of this option. Then you see we have voice one here. But if a user clicks on this, because there's no value here, the value is not going to be stored in this select drop down. So the select drop down is going to return a value of whatever option that is selected. So we need to pass in a value for the option. So we can do that by saying option dot set attribute, and we want to set the value attribute. So value, what do we want to set it to? We want to set it to voices. Then we want to access with the current iteration. So I dot name, and I hope you know where this name is coming from. So if we, let's just wait for this app to reload. Oh, let's just log this one more time. So let's log in voices, CLG voices. So if I log it, and so you see each object has a name property. All right, so that's what we are doing. Then we need to set text content to, so option dot text content. Then we need to set it to the same thing we did there for the attribute. All right, now if I reload, you see nothing has changed. So I'm just going to come to my HTML document and remove this because we don't need it. I just wanted to show you how the option tag work. Now I need to place this option tag at each iteration into this select. So this select, which we have here in our JavaScript file. So this variable is this select because we are using the ID to select it. Document.get element by ID. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to say voice options dot append child. So we are going to use append child method to place this option we created here as a child element, just like we have this option inside the select at each iteration. So let's pass in option as an argument here. Save and let's reload. So if I click, see we have a list of voice here. But if I select, for example, select a voice and say hello, hello, speak,
Hello.
it's still going to use the default voice because we need to connect this voice. We need to connect the selected voice to this constructor here. So to do that, there's, so this is what I'm going to do. So there's a property called voice. So utter this dot voice, and I got all this from the documentation. So I'm just showing you, instead of you to read the whole documentation, I'm just walking you through the basics. So utter this dot voice, and let's copy this voice. So I'm going to copy a voice. So this Google French. So let's copy the name. Or let's just type it out. So we have Google. um whatever Francia. So but basically we are going to set this to the voice, to the value of whatever this select option will return. So that's what I'm trying to explain. Okay, so let's just do Google Netherlands. That's easy for me to write. So it's going to be a string Google. I hope I'm spelling Netherlands correctly. Google Netherlands. Okay. So this is the Netherlands. So if I say hello, even without selecting anything, because we have set the voice property to Google Netherlands. Let's see what will happen. It says fail to set the voice property on speech synthesis utterance. Fail to convert speech voice Google Netherlands. So let's hope Netherlands. Spelling is correct, right? So Netherlands, Google Netherlands. Utter this dot voice. So this is supposed to work. Let's try it again. So this error is basically coming from here. Fail to set voice property on speech utterance. Right, so let's just go ahead and loop through this voice and compare to, we are going to loop through this voice array we have here and compare it to whatever this voice option returns, and we are going to set um this value to it. All right, so but before we do that, I want to check if this voice variable is not empty. So the way we're going to do it, because this is returning a list of voice, an array. So we're going to say if um voice is voice is, let me just type this out, dot length th th not equals to 0. So if the length is not equals to 0, it means there's something inside. So we're going to write another if statement. So if um we're going to compare if voice is, so if voice is, but before we do this, we want to use um an array method. So we're going to use the find array method. So this method is going to return the first item of an array based on the condition that is passed. It's going to return something, but we're not returning anything. We just want to do something inside the callback function. So I'm going to say voices dot find, passing my callback. So this method is going to take a callback, and we can get the voice for each iteration and can get the index. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say if voice, so if voice dot name, remember each voice has a name property, equal to voice options dot value. Then we are going to set utter diff dot voice to voices, and we are going to access with the iteration. So if I save and let's try this if it will work now, we are going to that's going to get rid of the error we had previously. Okay, so let me go to my console and I'm just going to say hello French, and we keep getting this error. Why? So it means something is wrong. Oh, so I have to get rid of this. this. So let's save and try it one more time. So hello.
Hello.
So you see it's working. So I hope you understand everything we did. So let's try again. Hello, my name is Levi, and let's use Italian. So sometimes,
Hello, my name is Levi.
yeah, so like I was about to say, sometimes because of internet connection, if your internet is not strong enough, it's going to take some time for the browser to respond back. Okay, so let's try this out in Edge. I'm just going to close this and let's just say hello. My name is John. So John Doe. This is the capital letter. John John Doe. And let's select Kuwait Arabic.
Hello, my name is John Doe.
Alright, so you see this working for both browser. The difference is just that Chrome has just 22 voice, while Microsoft has over 317 voice. Alright, so that's it for this video. If you watch from beginning to the end, I want to say thank you. I appreciate the time and effort you put on my content. So if you have anything to say about this video, kindly drop a comment in the comment section and I'll see you next time. Thank you.